Nothing creepy, it's just that I don't mind using gloves while I work. Nothing creepy, he says.
Did you hear that, YouTube?
You can go back and watch the whole playlist, which will also be up there in the cards. Hello, it's March, it's 40 degrees. First day in the 40s here in March, actually. I have to pull the generator out to do an oil change today. We've been using that generator now for over 6 months and it's got way over 100 hours on it. We're supposed to change the oil every 100 hours. I use full synthetic oil in my generator and I broke it in properly. I'm able to get away with going a little longer than 100 hours. Where it's at, I'll show you. It's really hard to check the oil. So just gonna service this thing now. Well, we can. And just get it ready for spring and all the boondocking that we're going to be doing. So I got to move this out of the way. I'm going to have to get into this baggie, put some tools away, as well as to find my funnel that I have had for this thing for forever. Now, this generator came with a funnel, to be honest with you. I think I threw it in here back in the day. Oh, here's the tool bag for it. Where did that funnel go? Last time I pulled that out of there. But here's the tool bag. Here's the spare exhaust piece that I have for it. Drill, some hand weights, a spare set of ignition wires. Oh, here it is. So this is a funnel. It's going to help us drain and fill it back up. You can see this is sort of like organized, but not really. Here's a spare pump, or a spare fan for the air conditioner. Little chunks of wood for like leveling or whatever I might need that for. Extra drills, extra ignition wires, extra chunks of wood.
I know. Should we throw this for you?
We'll have to go get more propane Friday. Or I don't know, I'm on the fence because we have like maybe 1 or 2 cold days. This has got a little less than a quarter of a tank left in it. And I got a little under half a tank left on the big tank on there. So what do? Do I go fill this up one more time? Do I use this and then just get a couple of 20-pounders?
I don't know, Bella. Do you know? Do you know anything? What?
Got some traffic here and some wind, so excuse us for all the noise.
There's going to be constant traffic, and
We'll
the
pull
wind
this
has
in.
died down a little, but it is a windy day.
So here's our Genmax 3300i gas inverter generator. It's modulated at 60 hertz. It works really good for what we use it for. We love it. It has about 150 hours on it right now. We used it all last summer boondocking. It ran our air conditioners. It worked flawlessly. We love it. I took a flathead screwdriver so that I can pull this line off, and then I have to disconnect the exhaust, and we should be able to lift this out of here. Of course, I keep this in a locked cabinet, so it's not like this anybody can come and smash and grab. Plus, we live in here, so we would definitely hear someone trying to take this out of here. Let's get this disconnected, and then I'll pull this out of here, and we'll change the oil. So the way I have this in here, I'll show you, I don't know if you can see this. But I can't access to even check the oil in here. The oil is on the back side of this, so I can't even check the oil when it's in here. So I've just kind of maintained that this is a newer generator and it hasn't used up that much oil. So we're going to pull this thing out of here and I'm going to check the oil for the first time in 150 hours. This thing is working. I'm actually going to use this tool. This screwdriver came with the kit. I bought this cap off of Amazon and we'll look up how much it cost. It was like, I don't know, 12, 20 bucks or something like that. It wasn't that expensive. But it basically allowed me to replace the stock fuel cap with this thing, with a cap that I can put a hose on it. And you can see there's a fuel pump back there. And I actually fill this generator's tank off of the fuel tank for the RV. I have an 80-gallon fuel tank on board. And I can fill this generator up until I get down to about a quarter of a tank. It actually makes running this thing relatively easy. I don't have to pull it out of here for gas. I don't have to do any of that.
That guy's a slow down looking now.
For sure. I mean, how many times have you driven by this RV and then you see people standing out in front of it? I'm sure there's people that are curious.
For sure, because this is a very well-traveled road, and suddenly there's people living in a driveway.
That hose wasn't ever coming on. see, I keep one of my thermostats in there. It's one of the outside temperatures that I keep an eye on.
Hey, want to help us out? Subscribe to our channel. It's totally free and it would really bring us joy. Then click the bell notification so you know when we have a new video up. Thanks.
Another hard part is I gotta pull this out with the exhaust and kind of snake it. Luckily, this thing kind of doesn't have very much gas in it, you know?
Yeah. It's the most convenient.
Oh, hang
But it's
on.
also,
One more thing I gotta do.
Yeah.
I have to unplug it. Oh shoot, I got a ground strap right here. I don't have it out yet. I need to go get like a little 10mm wrench. I put a system ground for not only the 12-volt system, but the 20-volt system in here. I wanted everything to be really grounded for the inverters and everything. As soon as I disconnect those grounds, we'll be free and clear to pull this thing actually.
Thanks, Bella. I didn't throw very far.
So here's the side of the generator that I couldn't see at all. We're gonna go ahead and pop that open and check the oil and see what it looks like inside here. You see it's kind of dusty. It's been living in that hole for a little over 8 months now. It's got about 150 hours on it, and it's worked flawlessly for us. I have no complaints about it. I've overheated it a couple of times, not getting the fans on in time. So I'm gonna assume that the oil that I'm gonna be pulling out of here is probably pretty black. Let's see what condition our oil is in. Oh yeah, see how black that is?
Oh yeah.
We needed to change that, and I'm glad we're doing it. So now I'm going to screw this funnel into here. How you drain the oil is literally just by tipping the generator over until you get the oil to fall down.
Okay. This will be fun.
Right. Step 1, make a mess.
But not too big.
Yeah, I'm really glad I checked this. I'm really glad we're changing this oil and not just running it another season. This generator would have been trash. We definitely got our use out of it. I really like this generator, so I want it to work for a couple more years at least, you know? It just screws right in there like so. You don't want to tighten it too much because it's just plastic and you will strip it. It's right to the edge here. Yeah, I'm thinking that maybe I do want like a chair or something.
Bring it down a little.
Out a little bit.
There.
There. That would make a
We'll be
smaller mess.
dribbling oil down the front of the
Down the front of all of this
table,
stuff.
the bench or whatever.
Alright. Thanks for your service. Texas Teal Liquid Gold. It's not going to hold a bunch, and this is going to tell us if we were getting any kind of... I don't like how that's like going towards the back and not towards the drain hole. This is all you got to do. I don't have an hour meter on here. I really have no idea how many hours are on here. I know that while we were boondocking, we would run it for at least 8 hours a day. Before we were boondocking, before we had our new air conditioner set up, when we had that old school air conditioner, we were running it for what, 12 hours a day some days? We'd wake up at 10 o'clock in the morning and run it until 10 o'clock at night. Get as much of it as you can out. You're not gonna get every single...
Now we're dripping. Are we dripping gas?
That's gas.
Okay.
Because I did leave this as empty as possible. The gas tank is pretty much empty, and one of the reasons why I wanted to do this right now is because I thought that the gas tank was pretty much all the way empty. But there's fuel in the carburetor, there's fuel in the lines. It's all gonna have to dry up before I can start it, but by the time I get it all put back in there, it's gonna dry. That's fine. All this newspaper will be thrown away. I'm donating some gloves to my brother's garage because I bought these at Menards a month or two ago, and they're not the kind of glove I enjoy. Yeah, why?
Why are you making it weird, you two?
I use a 530 synthetic instead of a 1030 synthetic. Valvoline is my favorite oil. Don't ask me why or do. I like it the most. It's a good company that uses a good product. The reason I use 530 instead of 1030 is because we live in Minnesota. It's a much colder climate, and so I just want a little bit more cold weather protection for this thing, because we did start this thing up this winter a couple of times in like sub-freezing weather when We lost our battery power. It was like, what, 10 degrees outside that night. You never know when this thing might have to run in the wintertime, and so I want to make sure that the oil that I use in there is not going to do any more damage to that engine. So I'm just going to run a little bit of oil here to rinse some of that gnarly stuff out. I'll look up the actual, like, what it holds for fluid and put that up on the screen so you guys have it. But basically, you fill it until it just starts coming back out of. Cool.
Thanks.
Did I get you?
Grab
Oh no.
my hand. No, I'm an oily mess. The camera person does not deserve to be the oily mess.
Okay, so I'm just going to start by putting some oil in there and watching how it fills in there. This is kind of a trial and error process by me. I don't do like the whole put it in a measuring cup and that's how much oil goes in there. I just put it in as much until it starts flowing back out of that hole. And that's how you know oil is full. The goal is not to fill this funnel up too much that you get oil just back feeding out of here and you create a giant mess. You saw how much oil came out of there. It doesn't take a whole lot. Get your finger in there. See, it's not really on the dipstick yet.
Is your pinky the dipstick?
My pinky in this case is the dipstick. So we screw it in. Oh yeah, just a little bit more. If I remember last time, it was just under like a half a quart of oil, maybe a little bit less. That should be pretty darn close to being topped off there. Matter of fact, I'm over a half a quart now. I think that's it. I think I see the oil right there. Yeah. So you can see that the oil line is pretty much right there. Dipstick in there.
Oh wait, yeah, it's right on the threads.
Yeah, it's on the thread.
It's like full.
Seal that up tight. Pull those rags out of there. And we're done. Oil change complete. That's all you gotta do. And then that'll run us through, I don't know, most of the rest of the summer. I'll try and keep an eye on it. That oil did look pretty black. We do run synthetic in there, so I do kind of push it a little bit further than I should. And again, I did do the proper break-in period. You can see there's not really any metal shavings in this oil at all, so that's nice. You know, it all came out of there pretty black. There's nothing really in that pan that shows me that there's anything wrong with this motor. So we should get easily another 100 hours out of this, another 150 hours out of this. So I'm hoping that, you know, I don't know what the record is for a small generator and what kind of usage you can get out of it, but I hope that this thing lasts us for many more years to come. If you guys are in the market for a generator, I highly recommend these Genmax generators. This thing, I don't know if you guys saw me carrying it without any gas in it. It is so light. And 3,000 watts is continuous running watts. We usually, I think the max we've ever pulled from it is like 26 or 2,800 watts. And it does sometimes struggle under a heavier load. But honestly, it's perfect if you're looking to replace your old Onan generator, if you're looking for a little extra power. This is pure sine wave too. So you can run all of your sensitive electronics off of it. All your computers, all your gaming systems, everything. I don't think there is a generator that makes more power that's this size. Yeah, this thing is awesome. Let's go put it back in. Hello. Go get this guy back in. In my head, it always seems more complicated than it is. I remember when I was setting this thing up in here, getting that exhaust just right was a real big pain in the buttuckus.
Oh yeah.
I had to wrap it and get it routed all just right. That should be the ground for the motor. So here's our two grounds. Here's the big ground for the system, and here's our small ground for the fan motor. So it goes on. Oop. Don't drop the washer with your gloves. I do. And the next thing we'll do is I'll get this plugged in. And I'll get the fuel filter on. And I'll get this thing balanced in here like it was before. Strapped down before I do the exhaust. Or vice versa. I don't know what I'm doing yet. Turns out it's just a 10mm wrench on this ground bolt on. Again, you don't want to over torque that. You just want them not to move around. And they don't. Next, let's get this thing strapped down. Actually. That dude. Everything you see that I've got on this generator, like the exhaust and this fuel cap, I've gotten on Amazon, and we'll try and link everything in the description for you. And of course,
Yeah, I will.
you can go back and watch the whole playlist, which will also be up there in the cards. You should have already seen the link for it by now. More like, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this to myself?
It's not as bad as the furnace.
Oh, there's a good callback. Hop up on these. Okay. Get yourself some Go Tight on there. Make sure that's never coming apart. That's all in there. Leave that alone. That's nice and tight. That's in there. It's strapped down. Gonna make sure this fan isn't next to the light, or the exhaust isn't next to this fan. It's nice and strapped up and tight in here. And it is. I got my ground all set. I got the fuel all set. And the only thing left to do is plug this in and see if we can get it to start up. It only plugs in one way. I need the vice grip so I can pull it, because like I said, I don't have a thing on mine. It's one of the first things that broke. I guess if I had a complaint about this thing, it would be that.
That's
But-
pretty immediate, right? That
Yeah.
thing broke.
I think that's pretty common in all of these Chinese generators though. Just putting some fuel into the tank because it was kind of an empty tank. We want to run this for a little while. The way I know how it's full is just by counting down the seconds.
Traffic is so loud right now.
I know. I put about 30 seconds worth of gas in the tank. I'm gonna get the vice grips and we're gonna try to start it. You want back out, baby girls?
Babe girls. How's it going, babe girls?
Here's the reason I haven't tried to fix that handle is I just when it breaks I just vice grip. Probably not the right way to do it, but
No, it's not.
works for me. I'm just gonna pull this through a few times. I start to feel fuel in the engine compartment or in the engine cylinder. How it starts most of the time. Put those two auxiliary fans on. Keep the air moving in here. We're good to go. See how smooth it's running too.
There you go.
Just come under here. Just plug that for a while. We're just gonna let it run on that for a little bit, and just start a timer. That was pretty straightforward. That oil change needed to be done. I'm glad we did it. That Genmax 3300i is probably the best fit for a generator for us. We pulled an old Onan out that wasn't really working before, and it was extremely inefficient. This thing will give us about an hour and a half of electricity at 2,500 to 2,800 watts for about a gallon of gasoline. And that's pretty incredible when you consider the old generator took about 3 gallons an hour. Produced a lot more power, but it was extremely inefficient. And with the battery setup that we have in here now and the 2 inverters, we really don't need a bigger generator. I'm glad you guys were able to see us taking care of it. Hopefully it's with us for a lot longer, and if you have an old generator, it's not working anymore, maybe it's too efficient for you, maybe one of these new cassette generators is the way to go, As always, we're a growing channel. We're looking forward to, doing this for a living, and we need your support in order to do that. So if you can go ahead and like our video, comment down below, let us know what you think. If it was a good video, if it was a bad video, what we can improve on, or what we didn't do. Subscribe to us so you can see all of our future content. We post twice a week. Come be a part of the fun. Thanks for watching. Bye.